back and watch it. We had a bonus video in there of how when you're going to choose passive income, buy and hold strategy, all the different considerations. So you're definitely going to want to go through these in order. So let's assume that you watched the last two videos. You've now picked your strategy. Okay, we're going to talk about passive income, or we're going to talk about buying and holding, or whatever it is. Cool. Now you got to market for deals. How do you get that phone to start ringing with opportunities? And there's a bunch of different marketing strategies. And the thing that's tricky about marketing is it always changes, right? I mean, think about what real estate looked like before Facebook, before Twitter, before Instagram. Think about what real estate looked like before Zillow and Trulia, these different online search engines that are out there or comp engines, I should say. And think about what real estate is going to look like in 5 years from now. So I'll share a couple with you that are time-tested, tried and true, that aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Because by the time you see this video, there might be the next Facebook or something out. So marketing is always hard to teach because, again, it's changing as I'm recording this video. But a couple that have always been and will always be absolute home run marketing strategies within real estate we'll talk about right now. So the first ones are called bandit signs. We'll call this marketing. And number one, bandit signs.
I only did it because you told me to do it. You said this would fix everything.
Now, bandit signs, if you're unfamiliar with them, I'll throw one up on the screen right here as an example. All of you have seen these before. Every single person in the world has been driving down the street, and you see the "We Buy Houses Cash Fast," your number here, your website. By the way, while we're talking about bandit signs, as far as bandit sign etiquette, I would not put the website here. Here's why. Yeah, you might get some traffic, and then if you're doing like a pixel with Facebook retargeting, maybe that person now sees your company in their Facebook page. I get that. But the reason that I never, ever include a website on my bandit signs is because I don't want people to be able to answer their own questions without me. I want them to call. And so what some people might do is they see my bandit sign that says "We Buy Houses Cash Fast," 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and then www.webuyhouses.com, something like that, right? And they might say, "Oh, well, I don't want to talk to a stranger, so I'll just go on their website first." And I may have just released a blog on my website that said, was talking about divorce, right? How people who are in divorce and a divorce attorney or divorce judge says you need to sell and divide assets, who is what we call a motivated seller, and those are great. Awesome, that's all fantastic. But they might not be in a divorce, or they might not be married at all. And when they see that I just recently published a blog about divorce, just really for SEO and creating some content to any followers of the website, they might draw the conclusion and say, "Oh, well, I'm not in a divorce, or I'm not even married, so I'm not even going to reach out and call this guy because he doesn't buy houses from people like me." So take it or leave it, website or not. I never put a website on there because I don't want them to draw their own conclusions. I want them to call me because I'll buy any house if the numbers are correct. I don't care where it is. I don't care what the situation is. I'll run the numbers, and I'll know my NAO, says MAO, my maximum allowable offer, which we talked about later on in this video. And once I know my male, I'll make an offer, whether they're divorced, married, single, alien, I don't care. All right, so this is what a bandit sign is. These things have always been around, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. The thing about bandit signs is if you don't use them appropriately, you can get into some trouble. You'll get calls from the city, say, take down your signs, and if you don't, you might even get a fine. Now, let me be clear, this isn't some like major criminal offense where you're going to go to jail. It might just be like a $200 fine, kind of like it's been littering. The reality is, let's not break rules. So for some basic guidelines, only put bandit signs where you've been given permission. Here's a quick example because I have a lot more to talk about besides just bandit signs. A good friend of mine, again, I live in Orange County, California, and there's a city in Orange County called Huntington Beach, and he is a deacon at his church, and his church just happens to be in one of the busiest cross streets of all of Huntington. And because he's a deacon at the church, they've said, "Hey," we'll call him Bob. "Hey, Bob, you can put your sign in front of our church right here in the intersection Monday through Friday. Just take it down on the weekends for the church services." So Bob has 2 signs for pointing each direction. It says "We Buy Houses" and Bob's number that he has out there Monday through Friday. Guess what? The city of Huntington Beach doesn't care. Guess why? That's privately owned property from the church, and the church has given Bob permission. So think outside the box. Do you have the ability of putting these absolutely anywhere you want? Absolutely, yes.
I'm freaked out.
it is inevitable you'll get a call saying take your sign down. If you don't, you'll get a fine. Stick to area been given permission, and then you'll never have a problem with bandit signs. So that's number one. Number two, another thing that's been around forever and isn't going anywhere is direct mail. Direct mail, that is sending people letters in their mailbox. You've all gotten it, and what happens? You go to your mailbox, you take it into the kitchen and throw it in the trash. So what's the point of even talking about direct mail or sending out mailers is what a lot of people call it, if everyone throws them in the trash? Well, the industry standard for direct mail right now is about 0.5%. So what that means is for however many letters you send out, about 0.5% will be quality leads for you to then close. So it really comes down to a numbers game. You have to send out thousands and thousands of letters to get dozens and dozens of qualified leads, to then make dozens and dozens of offers to just get one. Here's what's beautiful about real estate investing. You only need to get one house to make all your cost of marketing make sense. We're not selling milkshakes here. We're buying and holding houses that are going to create cash flow every single month for the rest of our lives if we choose to, or until we turn around and sell. And if you're going to buy and flip a house, well then by all means, you've only got to buy, flip that house right then to get all that money back. However, there are some specific strategies you should utilize to make your direct mail go up. Here's a huge tip I'll give for you right now. Only send your mailers to who are called motivated sellers. I'll say that again, actually write it down. Motivated sellers. Here's why. Let's put a D on there. Motivated sellers. There are a lot of homeowners in the city that you live in that have no interest in selling their houses right now. And so you might send them a letter saying, hey, I know that you own your house, I think it's gorgeous, and I'd like to buy it. They're going to take that letter and throw it in the trash because they're not interested in selling. So there are certain people out there that are highly motivated and wanting to sell their house. I'll give you some of the bigger ones right now. We just talked about one is divorce. People who are in divorce, this isn't predatory. It's not, you're getting a divorce and your life is falling apart. Great, let me buy your house. For some people who are in a divorce, it is court ordered that they sell their house to be able to divide their assets, to be able to part and start their new lives, right? And again, being very happily married, divorce is not something that people want to go through. However, in life, divorce happens. And in the city I'm recording in, it's over 50% of marriages in a divorce, which is pretty sad. That being said, if this person has been told by a court, you must sell your house, what do they want? Someone that can show up and pay cash for it and close in 5 days. I would imagine, again, being happily married, I would imagine in a divorce, you want it over as quickly as you can. And so instead of having to go find a realtor and list this property for sale and hope that in the next month or two you get a buyer, I just send you a letter that says, I love your house, I'll pay cash and close in 5 days. Guess what? They're going to call. That's somebody who's called a motivated seller. Another one would be bankruptcy. We'll just say BK. Same exact thing. Sometimes in a bankruptcy, I guess you'd say hearing, or when someone files for a bankruptcy, depending on their assets and creditors, they sometimes have to sell their house. Cool. Sucks that you're in that financial position, but I can help you through this process by offering you cash for your house right now and closing quickly. So bankruptcy. Another one is default, or we'll just call it NOD lists. Notice of default is what that is right there. Notice of default. People who have stopped paying their mortgage oftentimes have lost their jobs or have lost their active income and whatever that was and can no longer afford to pay their mortgage payments. So they get on a list called an NOD list, notice of default list, where you can now send them letters saying, hey, I would like to buy your house, pay cash and close quickly. Some of them won't be interested in selling. Again, it's a numbers game because it was just a temporary unemployment. They got a new job now. They're going to get caught up in their mortgage and they're going to live happily ever after. Right on. But they can't ignore this problem because unfortunately what happens after NOD is foreclosure. If someone is not paying their mortgage and it's gone on long enough, the bank isn't going to keep asking. They're going to start putting their property for sale, again, what's called a foreclosure. And that person's going to not only no longer own their home, they're going to be kicked out of it and get nothing. At least by working with people like you and I, we can buy that house that's in default before the bank forecloses on it, and in that closing process, get them all caught up. Another one would be probate. That'll be the last one I'll share for now. probate lists. People who have just inherited homes from a family who's passed are oftentimes motivated sellers. Check this out. Mom and dad were in their late 80s. They lived lovely lives, and they've passed on to whatever you believe happens next. They now have adult children who are in their 50s and 60s, if mom and dad are in their 80s, who already have families, oftentimes already own homes, and oftentimes are empty nesters because their kids have already gone on to college, and they just inherited mom and dad's house, who might be in a different part of this country, right? You might be marketing in, let's see, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where you live, and that's where you want to be investing in real estate. And Marge and Bill passed away in Charlotte, North Carolina, so there's now an empty house, and their kids live here in California. They're not going to want mom and dad's house, so they're highly motivated to want to sell. Here's the beautiful thing about these right here. They're what's called public info. Yes, that's correct. You might have thought that when someone files for divorce or bankruptcy, or they're not paying their mortgage payment or whatever, that that's their private financial information. It's actually not. When you file for divorce or file for BK, that filing is a public record that you can find at any courthouse. So whatever the county is that you live in right now, you can walk into your county courthouse and say, yes, I would like to buy the divorce list. And every single person who lives in that county who has just filed for divorce in the last 30 days, you now have their name and address. You don't have their Twitter handle, you don't have their Facebook page or their cell phone. That's not public information, that's their private information. But their address and the tax records associated with that address, whether they live there or it was a rental property and live somewhere else, wherever the owner of that home is living, whether it's in that house or a different one, you have the public right to that information. So that's why direct mail is so valuable, because now you're sending letters to these people who are not paying their mortgage or who are in bankruptcy or whatever it is, offering them a solution and offering them help. Not picking on them, but saying, hey, I have an option for you to not lose your house to foreclosure, sell it before the bank takes it, etc. So those are two ways of marketing that aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And those have been around since before I've been born. So those are tested, tried, and true. A newer one that's not going anywhere anytime soon is social media. You had to know that when it comes to marketing, this was going to be a topic. Again, social media, been around 10, 12 years, right? Wasn't a part of real estate's history forever, but you and I both know social media isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So I would suggest, as a little homework assignment for any of you watching this, set up social media accounts for your real estate business immediately. Here are the three big ones for real estate. Instagram, you knew that was coming. Yep. Facebook, and yep, Twitter. Yeah, there are other ones out there, but these are the three big ones that pull leads for me. So sure, you can have your Snapchat account for your house, etc. But we all know, at least as we're recording this video, and again, here's the thing about marketing, this could change tomorrow. But for now, the only way that people find you on Snapchat is by talking about your Snapchat on these existing channels. There's no way to, within Snapchat, find each other. So if I was going to have a personal Snapchat portfolio, which I do, great. When I say portfolio profile, excuse me, great. But guess what? I don't want to take the effort to try to build an audience on Snapchat for my houses. So these are the three that work really well using hashtags. Of course, homes and let's go back to Charlotte. Homes in Charlotte, houses, real estate in Charlotte, Charlotte real estate. You can use all the hashtags so people start finding these channels. Social media is a great way to start local followings where you have deals. Now, what are you going to post? Not your 30th birthday party where you were all hungover the next day about how much fun you had. Not when your kid went to school for the very first day and they're leaving for preschool, which I just did that this year with my little girl. And yes, I took pictures, but I didn't put that on my business social media. So this is just pictures of the homes you're working on. For instance, on my Instagram that I would link to my Facebook and Twitter, I would say, here we are at 123 Main Street. Project should be wrapped up in 15 days. We'll start taking offers in 12 days. Email info@yourdomain.com for more information on this property. You blast that out there with real good hashtags, and you'll start building an audience and buyers. I have people that sell dozens of homes a year on their Instagram. A good friend of mine, you might know him, his name is Luis Ortiz. He was one of the stars of $1 Million Listing New York. I was just in New York hanging out with Luis 2 weeks ago, and the guy sold millions. I say that again. Millions of dollars of real estate on his Instagram account. If you don't know who he is, go look up Luis D. Ortiz. Go check out his Instagram. You'll see what he's doing. And then the fourth one are online communities. Again, a little bit newer since we haven't had the internet forever, but there are great online communities to be a part of. For instance, as of investing in this product, into this course, we are creating an online community for you. So if you're one of the first people in and it hasn't happened yet, get ready for it, it's coming. And if you're not one of the first people in, then I'm sure it's already there. So you're taken care of as far as having a thriving online community of people who are all there to learn how to do real estate or are actively doing real estate. Fantastic. So this Facebook community, this Facebook group associated with this course is one. But guess what? There are literally thousands of online communities of real estate professionals. And so I would definitely start looking into them. And that's just as simple as Google search. I'm going to pretend that you live in Charlotte still. Charlotte real estate communities, Charlotte real estate groups. LinkedIn would be a great way to find these. LinkedIn is a great way to find local groups, online communities, groups of different real estate professionals. Now there are in-person groups as well, and that's going to come up in the next section. So just to quickly cover when it comes to marketing, let's go back. Number one, bandit signs. That's these bad boys right here. My tip is don't put them where you're not supposed to so you don't get fined. Don't put your website on there. Where do you build these? We didn't talk about that. Where do you get these made? Google them. Bandit signs. There's one called supercheapsigns.com. I have no affiliation with them, so I don't get paid if you use them. That's where I print my signs, supercheapsigns.com. You're welcome for that one. There are dozens and dozens of vendors out there that you can custom design them. You press print, you put in your credit card, you press purchase, and they literally ship to your house. What does it take? Probably like 6 to 10 days later, they're at my front door, and then he goes and puts them out for me. Number two, direct mail. The reason that this is such a valuable strategy, because I realize some of you might be 19 years old watching this and have never even sent a letter out in your life, and I get it. I totally understand, but guess what? When it comes to divorce, bankruptcy, notice of default, and probate, the only data you have on them is a name and an address. So you can, if you want to, fly across the country or drive across town and knock on their front door. You can technically do that if they don't have anything that says no solicitation, right? There's certain communities where that's not allowed. But if you want to, you can drive to their house. I wouldn't recommend it because how many houses can you see in a day? And I can send out 10,000 letters in one day. So the point is, even if you're younger and have never sent a letter in the mail in your life, the reason that direct mail is still so powerful in real estate is because for what these motivated sellers are, you only have an address, which means you can only send them a letter. We talked about social media. Don't need to talk a lot about that. Pretty self-explanatory. Set these accounts up. Again, your handle won't be your name like mine's at Cole Hatter. That's for me personally. For your business, your Charlotte Homes, it would be at Charlotte Homes or whatever it is. And then again, the online communities. You want to find those online communities. LinkedIn is a great spot. Hope you enjoyed some marketing tips. Let's dive into the next section.
Tomorrow. You get a fee?
Excuse me? What are the rest of the testimonies for? I'm Karen Carlos' mom. 417, she gets Ritalin every morning, never on the stomach, and then Ativan at lunch too, as she's feeling anxious 7 times.
Sorry, ma'am, this is in the summer camp, okay? I'm a
Groups.
camp nurse, so Karen has an oil red study, right?
Welcome back, it's Cole. Now we're going to talk about bird dogs. What the heck are those? I have no idea where the terminology or the phrase bird dog came from. But what a bird dog is somebody who lives in a local market who all they do is spend their time drumming up real estate deals. So these are people that themselves, we just covered in the last section, marketing, they themselves put out bandit signs. They themselves send out letters. Now they might be in the position where they don't have the financial capability to buy houses, and what we're going to learn in the next module of how to fund deals, you will never worry about where to get the money again. But some of them either don't have the money or don't have the knowledge to know where to get the money, right? And so what they do instead is just refer deals to people like you and I. So when it comes to bird dogs, how do you find them? It's super simple. We're going to come here and we're going to go online real quick to Craigslist. I just did this 10 seconds ago. You go on Craigslist.com, and since I'm in LA, it pulled up Los Angeles. Here we go. Let me make this larger. And up in the search, all I typed in is bird dogs, as you can see right here. I just typed in bird dogs right there, and all of this came up. Here's an investment company that says, bird dogs, we want you to find us houses. Cool. Here's different bird dogs listing properties that they have. Here's the different bandit signs as their image. But if you spend some time going through all of these different listings that use the keyword bird dogs, you would start finding some people. And then of course, like these guys did, you could say, hey, we want bird dogs to find properties for us. So again, when it comes to bird dogs specifically, they are a person that lives in a local marketplace that find deals, that have different advertisements they're putting on Craigslist, they have different bandit signs that they put on the streets, and they're just in the position of saying, hey, let's say her name is Ashley. Hey Ashley, I have a home on the northeast side of town. The owners are considering selling it. Do you want to buy it? And then how you compensate them is up to you. Beware, it is a law that unlicensed people aren't allowed to get referral fees. So if these bird dogs don't have licenses, it's not your bad by taking leads from them, but when you pay them receiving a referral without a license, that can get them into trouble. So you're going to want to talk to them about that and say, what are you doing about the fact? I guess the first question is, do you have a real estate license or not? They say, no, I don't. Say, okay, when you bring me this house and I buy it and I compensate you for that, how are you going to do that? And some of them work within realtors, like real estate brokerages, as what are called junior agents, and it'll go in the proper way through a brokerage and then pay them. So just make sure, again, you're not going to get in trouble if someone brings you a lead that doesn't have a license. They will get in trouble by taking your money. So just make sure that you ask them, hey, Johnny, you are an unlicensed agent who's bringing me deals. When I compensate you, how are you going to handle that and hear what they have to say to make sure you're only working with people who are doing this legally, ethically, and morally, because that's super important. So bird dogs, pretty simple, straightforward. The thing that's cool about that is you get to leverage their time. They're out there, boots on the pavement, grinding every single day, hanging hangers on door handles, knocking on door handles, again, putting out bandit signs, probably not knocking on door handles, knocking on the doors themselves, putting out bandit signs. They're grinding out to then just bring you deals on a silver platter. They're going to get paid a small fee for that, but you're happy to do so. So that's a bird dog. One place to start looking for them is on Craigslist, of course, Google searching, and when we get to RIA groups here, which is next, you're going to find a lot of bird dogs at RIA groups as well. See you in the RIA groups.
Oh, and don't forget to pee before you leave home. Bathrooms are a nightmare. Cleaning girls beat me up my first week because I didn't have any cigarettes. Last time I was a little girl who had a pack of Virginia Slims. Do you need any money for food supplies? I can only get $100 until Friday for you. No, bye. My sister-in-law upstairs. Thanks. Carl, honey.
Welcome back, it's Cole. We're going to dive right into RIA groups. What the heck is it? It's an acronym. And if you're new to real estate, I just apologize. I have no idea why this community loves acronyms, but everything is an acronym. Everything's abbreviated. I'm going to guess there's over 200 of them. ARV, right? LTD, everything is different. POF, VOD, there's a ton of different acronyms. One of them is RIA, which stands for Real Estate Investor Association. So REIA groups. RIA groups are Real Estate Investor Associations. All right. I apologize for my writing and my spelling. Here's the good news. You don't need to know how to spell to do real estate. That being said, real estate investor associations are everywhere. No matter what city you're in, they have them. I have yet to find a place that doesn't have some local meetup group. And that's another one too. You can go to meetup.com. Meetup.com. And put in RIA groups in meetup.com and it'll show you there as well. I've yet to find a place that doesn't have any. Or if you're like, oh cool, I live in a population of 500, cool. The local town that's 15 minutes away that has a population of a few thousand has one. So you might have to drive 15 to 20 minutes. It might not happen around the corner from your house, but there are RIA groups that every one of you can join. So what is a RIA group? Let me break them down from a 10,000 foot overview. I've been a member of about 8 of them, and the 8 I went to were almost identical in how they function and how they operate. So here's a big picture of what typically goes on in a RIA group and why you'll want to go to them. They usually take place in hotel conference rooms, like their ballrooms, or sometimes in like public local gathering places, right? It might not be a hotel, it might be a convention center or something. And there's usually someone just like you or I that hosts it. Sometimes they're a realtor, sometimes they're a broker, sometimes they're not. They're just an investor like I am who decides that they want to host their very own RIA group. So they're informal in the sense that you don't need a license or to go and buy a franchise or anything to open your own RIA. It's just you say, you know what? I want to put this together to get a lot of like-minded people together. So they build a website, they pick a venue, they pick a date, boom. They usually meet once a month, not on a date, but on a day, like the third Tuesday of every month. Or our RIA group meets on the first Thursday of every month. And so what I would do if I were you is find one that meets every week. So the one that meets on the third Tuesday of every month, one that meets on the second Thursday of every month. That's what I did. Living in Orange County, I would go to 2 in San Diego, 1 in Orange County, and 1 in Los Angeles. They each met on a different week, so every week I had one to go to. You show up, there's a brief little registration, you get a little, hi, my name is, name tag, and you pay anywhere between 20 and 30 bucks to get in, typically is about the entrance fee. And what that covers is not only your right to be there, there's usually, not always, but usually like some drinks, unfortunately not cocktails, but like a juice bar, water, or some snacks, pretzels, things like that. Or you can usually buy an annual membership for something like $200, so you're saving that way. Once you're through the doors, typically the event organizer or whoever owns that RIA group will greet everybody, you'll take seats, and they have a guest speaker come in and speak. Almost always having to do with real estate. I've been to a few which were like software programs that are for real estate, like a CRM, things like that. And then they're going to give you an offer to buy it. Buy it if you want to or not. And of course, the event organizer gets a split. It's a business model. Maybe some of you even want to start your own RIA groups where speakers come in, sell their programs, their courses. Whoever buys it, they split it. Cool. Some of them I've bought and benefited from. Some of them I was not interested in. But then here's where it gets amazing. Once that speaker's done and basic housekeeping's happened, like, opt into our newsletter and all that stuff, it just becomes into one huge networking party. The smallest one I went to was about 30 people, and the one up here in Los Angeles was 300 people. And every single person there at a real estate investor association wants to invest in real estate. They're realtors, they're brokers, they're lenders, they're contractors. So even if they themselves don't buy, fix, and hold real estate, they're a realtor that wants to meet you to bring you deals. They're a lender who wants to meet you to give you money. They're a contractor who wants to repair your house for you. So you can literally show up to these things and start collecting stacks of business cards, then start vetting the 80 realtors you met and the 16 contractors you met and the 35 lenders you met. Start vetting them and start building a relationship. So this should be like a little side segment, not just calling it RIA groups, but calling it building your team, because you really can build a team out of RIA groups. Now, fast forward. You're in the game, you're starting to buy properties, people bring deals to these events, and let's say that you get on the active side of this business where you're buying houses with the intention of turning around and selling them. You can come to these RIA groups and guess what? Have your flyers of your house that's listed for sale or that you're about to list for sale and start passing those out to the other attendees as well. So one catch I would say about RIA groups is, in my experience, most people there aren't doing real estate. They're just excited about it and they show up to feel like they're doing something. So I'll shake 10 hands, 7 of them have never done a deal. They're just there, they're brand new, and I'm not talking crap. They're brand new, they've never done anything yet before. But those 3 other hands you shake are people who are going to change the game.
Hello everybody, welcome to the
So I would
Inside of
suggest
Online
by
Sales
just
Pro.
Google
My
searching,
name's Grady.
you can literally do that, Google search REIA group, and then put in your city name, RIA Group Charlotte, RIA Group Los Angeles, RIA Group Orange County, and you will see pages of them coming back. If you know you live in some little town, then whatever the bigger city
Hello
is near
everybody,
you,
welcome to the
put
Inside
in
of
RIA
Online
Group's
Sales Pro.
bigger
My
city,
name's Grady.
and maybe you've got to drive
I
an
think he's
hour.
over
When I lived in Orange County, I would drive an hour south to the meetings in San Diego, and I would drive an hour north here in Los Angeles, and then the one in Orange County was about 25 minutes away from where I lived. But I knew that commute was worth it because that's literally where I built my business. In 2005, when I started investing in real estate, I built everything I did right out of RIA groups. So Google them, join them. You don't need to be a licensed realtor to get in them. You just got to give them their 25 bucks to get in the door or buy their annual membership. They will welcome you with open arms. Go there and learn how to network with a purpose. Maybe that's something that we can throw in a bonus section later on of how to actually network with a purpose to actually find the right people and foster relationships as opposed to just getting business cards. But network with a purpose, meet your team, and enjoy.
Hey, you know what I gotta do? I'm supposed to be working freshman orientation.
You're going to? Carl, the door, go. Hey, once. Whoa. Better safe than sorry. And no bathroom, right? School starts today. High school, her first day. Yay! High school! It's so exciting! You're in class. Yeah, Ian told me. My brother, what about it? No, the one that graduated junior. He's more like far away. Boyfriend's baby. Get it.
Okay.
Congratulations. I gotta go.
Wait. Hey, you got? Yeah. I'm Lynn's brother. Don't fuck this up. She's really great, alright? If I get anything from Ian, I'll call you, vice versa, right? I'm supposed to meet Chris to help book him some background transfers demo, but I can blow him off.
No, thanks. Really. There's nothing to do here, but wait. I'll call you later. Let you know what's going on with Ian.
MLS. Welcome back, it's Cole. Now we're going to talk about realtors. I am pro realtors when it comes to finding deals. So let me just explain how realtors are compensated. The industry standard, and this is coast to coast, there are variances, but or variables, but it's typically 6%. So anytime someone wants to sell their house, they're going to give away a 6% commission. Now, the way that 6% is broken down is it typically takes 2 real estate agents to get a house sold. There's the buyer's agent. They get 3%. And then there's the seller's agent. Who, you guessed it, gets 3%. So let's just keep the math simple. If you're selling a house for $100,000 that you own, and you list your home for sale, and this seller's agent puts your house on the MLS, which we're going to talk about next, and puts their sign in your yard and puts out their flyers. And sure enough, Bob and Mary, their buyer's agent, sees that listing's for sale. This buyer's agent is going to bring the new buyers to your seller agent who's representing you. And out of that $100,000, you're only going to keep $94,000. $6,000, 6% is going to be split between these two people. That's the industry standard. Now here in California, we've kind of turned it to 2.5 per person. So it only costs us about 5% to sell houses here in California. But that's really only been about the last 3 or 4 years. It may go back to 6%. It may go stay at 5%. That changes. Also because we're selling multi-million-dollar homes, realtors realize 6% commissions are like $400,000. So sometimes they'll negotiate that down. Oh, and by the way, this isn't a law. This is completely negotiable. So why would you ever want to work with a realtor then when it comes to listing a house if they're going to take a commission so you make less? Remember, this whole section, all these videos, all this content is how to find a deal, not how to sell one. So watch this. Do you know who pays this commission? The seller. the person who's listed that home for sale is going to pay that 6%. But guess what? That buyer's agent is paid by who? The seller. So why do you want to work with realtors? Because when you get a real estate agent representing you, every deal they bring you, they get paid $0 from you personally. Let me make sure I'm clear. When you have a buyer's agent representing you, and you say, hey, Mary, I would like to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Orange County, California, and I've been pre-qualified from my lender. What I'd like to buy is a home between $500,000 and $600,000. Now that Mary knows your buying criteria, she can go out there and find all those deals for you. And let's say you buy 2 or 3 or 10, you personally didn't have to pay Mary 1 cent. She did all that work for you, and whoever was selling the house paid Mary on your behalf. Why would someone else pay your realtor? Because your realtor brought you to the deal paying cash. So we just talked about bird dogs in the last section. This is a little bit different because these are actual licensed real estate agents who are working for commissions. But as a buyer, when I have a realtor running around finding deals for me, they don't cost me a penny. Now, if I want to list a property for sale, if I hire a realtor to do that, I am going to pay that 6%. And that is a conversation you need to have. Do you want to put in a FSBO, for sale by owner, sign in front of your house? List that property on FSBO.com, FSBO.com, and show up and do your own open houses on the weekend? Then cool, you can at least cut half of that commission off. But then when a buyer's agent walks through your door, they're going to want to still get paid as well. That's your right to do that. And by the way, the good news is in America, you do not need a license to list your own house for sale. Owning whether it's a house, a commercial building, land, if you own the residential real estate, commercial real estate, or any of it, you can list it for sale yourself. You can't put it on the MLS without being a licensed agent. We talk about that next. So let's recap. I would highly recommend finding realtors that are investor savvy. How do you know they're investor savvy? You ask them, hey, Bob, do you work with investors? Yes? Cool. What types of transactions are you doing with your investors? Awesome. We're speaking the same language. Bob, I'm an investor. I'm going to pay cash. I'm going to close quickly. Here's the type of property I want. I want it to look like this in this area at this price point. Bob, Mary, whoever your realtor is will then go work for you, and it costs you nothing. So that's the value of having a realtor, and this is just yet one more way of finding deals. Now, let's get into the MLS. they have a paragraph called a listing description where they say, this is a beautiful MLS. MLS is yet another acronym, stands for Multiple Listing Service. Now the MLS varies city to city depending on who the provider is, but we call it the MLS everywhere, and it does the exact same thing. For people who have their real estate license, they can be a real estate broker or a real estate agent. They're the only ones in the world who have access to the MLS. But guess what? Or who have legal access to the MLS, I should say. But guess what? Who has access to real estate agents and brokers? Everybody. So through a broker or through an agent, who has access to the MLS? All of us. And you might not know this, but many, not all, many real estate agents or brokers can give you a limited access and your very own user account. You might need to pay $99 a month or so to have that access. You don't have a license, so you don't get to list properties for sale. You don't get to change properties that are listed for sale, but you can take a peek on what's on the MLS. If, for whatever reason, they won't let you do that, they can put you on a distribution list where you ask them to put in specific criteria of what cities you want to buy houses in, and the bedroom, the bathroom, or certain key words. Like for instance, when a real estate agent lists a property on the MLS for sale, they have a paragraph called a listing description where they say, this is a beautiful home on a cul-de-sac, views of the ocean, it's 1,800 square feet, and they talk about that property. Within that paragraph, they might use words like, this is a distressed property that needs work. It's a motivated seller. This is an investor special. These are all different phrases or terms they can use in a house that needs repairs. Those are the ones that we're going to want to find. So through the MLS and through a realtor, you can say, hey, any property that's on the MLS that somebody says is distressed, is a short sale, is bank owned, is an REO, which is another acronym that stands for real estate owned. Any property that's this bedroom, this bathroom, their square foot in this city, send it to me. And every single time a realtor anywhere in that city puts a property that fits in that parameter on the MLS, you're instantly notified about it. So let's just assume that that's the case. You will now start getting emails, several emails a day, as Bob the realtor 30 miles away lists that property for sale, and in his listing description says, this is an investor special. It needs work. It's a distressed home. That's 3 keywords right there. Boom, you're going to get an email. And then let's say Mary, 8 miles away, lists a property for sale that says, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot home for $500 grand, and those are the parameters. You said you want them between $400,000 and $600 grand, between 1,500 and 2,500 square feet, right? You give them the buying criteria, and any properties that fall inside that window, you're instantly notified. So what's a great way to find deals is having the MLS send them to you. Now here's the deal. When it comes to MLS specifically, I just told you 5 minutes ago that anybody through their realtor can get access to the MLS. So this makes this highly competitive. And I'm going to be doing subsequent trainings on how to use the MLS to be faster than everyone else. So for the broad, still talking about how to find deals, know that the MLS is a great place to find deals. And as a matter of fact, I bought more homes off the MLS last year than anything else. My bandit signs, my different marketing strategies that I use, Bird Dogs Bring Me Deals, going to RIA groups, above all of them, proportionately, I bought more homes right off the MLS than anywhere else. So if someone tells you, oh, the MLS is saturated, there's too many eyeballs on it, too many people see it, that person doesn't have a system, they have no idea what they're doing. But there is an MLS system. So again, how do you find deals? Get access to the MLS through a realtor, they're the only ones that can, or that realtor's broker, they're the only ones that can. It might be free, it might be $90, $99 a month, cool. Now you can log in and all day long browse the MLS if you really want to. If you're in a weird place where that's prohibited, which I have that access in every city I do deals in, but I have heard of certain places that they just, if you don't have your license, they will not let you on. Cool. Then get into those email distributions. Now this isn't like a newsletter, let me be clear. You're not asking realtors to put you in their weekly newsletter, that's not it. Within their system, they set up parameters with your email address in there. And anytime a home hits one of those keywords or hits within that parameter, your realtor could off be playing, ping pong. They don't even know that the property is listed for sale, but because they set that filter up, the second a property that fell into that parameter becomes available, you're instantly notified about it. Now you're cruising around, your phone vibrates, you pull out your phone, you say, oh, here's a property listed for sale. You click the link, and bam, now you're looking at a house that just got put for sale 8 minutes ago, and you can call that second and make an offer on that deal. So the MLS is a fantastic strategy, and guess what? It's free. Hope you like that one. Let's talk about some due diligence. All right, welcome back. It's Cole. Let's talk about one of the most important conversations of all of real estate, due diligence. See, you may have heard of people out there that have tried to invest in real estate and have lost money. And I guarantee you, if you go back to the day that they first heard about that property until the day they bought it, that window, they did no or poor due diligence. Because guess what? If you do due diligence properly before it's too late, you're not going to lose money on a deal. You're going to have all your I's dotted, T's crossed. What if the house burns down? Part of due diligence is making sure you have an insurance policy on it. So let's talk about some quick due diligence. If you've been skipping around, go back to Pick a Strategy. Within Pick a Strategy, I had a full extra bonus slide on how to evaluate a marketplace. That's all part of due diligence. So if you didn't watch that video, press pause, go back, and watch Pick a Strategy, the bonus video I have in that section. That is due diligence. Assuming you've already seen it, let's continue. States vary. State to state, we have either attorney states or we have states that use title companies. But in every state out there, there's a time or a period where you can back out of properties after you've made an offer. You make a contingent offer, or you make offers with escape clauses within them. This is all a very important part of due diligence, because here's the bad news about real estate. It's not slow. People aren't going to sit around and wait for you to make your mind up. Unfortunately, sometimes with real estate, you got to shoot and then aim. So how do you do that? Simple. Once you've shot, you've got a way of getting out, if that makes sense. And again, we call these an escape clause. Let me write that down. Escape clause, in case you didn't hear what I was saying. And what an escape clause does is it lets you out of the deal. For instance, you might say, hey, I will buy this property contingent not sure if that's spelled correctly, but who cares? Contingent upon inspection report, contingent upon appraisal, contingent upon partner's approval. And what you're saying is, hey, listen, I've taken a quick look at this house. It looks fantastic. I'll take it. So you can tie it up under contract. But I'll take it contingent that it appraises high enough, or contingent that the inspection report comes back and there isn't any damage, structural or physical damage or even cosmetic damage that I somehow missed. Or this one's pretty loose, and they'll probably kick this one back, but you can even say, I'll buy this house contingent upon my partner's approval. Now, that will have a window of time that you're going to ask for, and that's negotiable. I'll say I want 30 days. I want a 30-day inspection period where your escape clause now for 30 days you can get out for any of those contingencies. They probably will come back. For me, for instance, if you said you wanted 30 days due diligence on my house, I'd laugh at you and I'd tell you you've got 5. Then you would laugh at me and say, well, I can't get a contractor here and I can't get a city out. 5 days isn't enough. Let's split the difference at 15. I might give you 15. Actually, I probably would give you 10 to 15 days. So if you're buying my home, I would give you 10 to 15 days. And I know that in those 10 to 15 days, you can literally have a slice of pizza and wake up with a stomach ache and just decide that you don't want to buy a house anymore and I have to cancel the contract and give you back your money. So why is due diligence so important? Because you can't lose money if you've ran the numbers 15 times, worst case scenario, in advance, and then have escape clauses if something changes. If there's a variable and you're like, oh my gosh, we knew that we needed a new roof and we knew that we needed to rewire the house, but we had no idea how to cracked foundation. Oh, this is going to put us over budget. We're going to lose 30 grand on this house. No, you're not, because you had an escape clause and you're going to buy that house contingent upon inspection report. And the inspection report showed that it had a cracked foundation, so now you can send a notice to cancel your contract and they have to sign it. And you might have given them what's called an EMD, earnest money deposit. They have to refund your deposit as well. There's a certain date where your deposit becomes non-refundable, and that would be after these 30 days or if they negotiate after the 15 days. So you might have a 30-day escrow, but a 10-day inspection period. And within those 10 days, you get all your money back. You can cancel for any reason. So that's an important part of due diligence, is understanding your legal rights. If you're being represented by a realtor, they will know this. But if you're just finding properties and making offers yourself, you're going to want to know this. So back to the bonus video on Pick a Strategy. We talked about how to look at unemployment rates and all that. That's all part of due diligence. We talked about your rights of exiting or escaping a contract. Let me give you one more. It's called spotcrime.com. This is a little bonus for you. Spotcrime.com. And what spotcrime.com does, and I'm sure you're all going to press pause and go there now to see what the heck your neighbors are doing, is when you put in your zip code, it pulls up a map, just like the Google Maps. You see all the main streets and everything, and then there are little icons of what type of crime is being committed, where it happened, what the time was, the date was, and the description of that crime. Things like thefts, burglaries, things like arson, shootings, all that is reported there. And it tells you the date that it happened. Now, don't let it freak you out, because you might put in your own address right now and see that there's crime everywhere. Obviously, population density has everything to do with it. If you're out in an area that's pretty rural, you might only see 2 or 3 crimes reported. If you live in an area like Los Angeles, you might see 800 crimes. It's just speckled with little icons of crimes being committed. You're like, oh my gosh, I could never live there. Well, there are millions of people that live in this city. I know, traffic freaking sucks. You can probably see it through this window. But more people, more crime doesn't mean it's not an area you should buy. So I talked to you about city-data. In case you skipped that, I'll write that one down. City-data.com. Citydata.com. Make sure the dash is in there. Spotcrime.com. Go back again to the bonus section and pick a strategy on how to do due diligence. And the big thing is, remember to have an escape clause. You should have done your due diligence ahead of time before going to contract. And I'll tell you, maybe 10% of the time I have to escape a deal because something changed. Somehow, something was missed, overlooked, or something dramatic changed where my numbers are now off. Yet, because I had the escape clause in place, I was able to get out of the deal. So, don't forget to do your due diligence. This is an important part of how to find deals. All right, welcome back. It's Cole. Let's talk about one of the most important conversations of all of real estate, due diligence. See, you may have heard of people out there that have tried to invest in real estate and have lost money. And I guarantee you, if you go back to the day that they first heard about that property until the day they bought it, that window, they did no or poor due diligence. Because guess what? If you do due diligence properly, before it's too late, you're not going to lose money on a deal. You're going to have all your I's dotted, T's crossed. What if the house burns down? Part of due diligence is making sure you have an insurance policy on it. So let's talk about some quick due diligence. If you've been skipping around, go back to Pick a Strategy. Within Pick a Strategy, I had a full extra bonus slide on how to evaluate a marketplace. That's all part of due diligence. So if you didn't watch that video, press pause, go back, and watch Pick a Strategy, the bonus video I have in that section. That is due diligence. Assuming you've already seen it.
Oh. Oh, who's cute?
Teach that in just a second. For now, while we're on the subject, this just came up in this video, let me teach you what ARV is real quick. ARV stands for after repair value. After repair value. So when you found the house, it had cat pee in the carpet, it had mold on the walls, it needs a new roof, it was pretty banged up. Guess what? I mean, $80,000 worth of repairs. It's pretty banged up. It needs a new kitchen, certainly a new refrigerator, right, Chris? It needs some new repairs or some new upgrades, some granite countertops and everything else. Cool? $80,000 worth of work. You know that. It has an as-is value. As you found it, with everything falling apart just like it was, you know that it's worth something today. And we said that the cute little couple, they were listing in at $615, and you got them down to, let's just say $580. That's the as-is value. The question then becomes, once you have fixed it up and made it gorgeous, like new, pristine condition, boom. What's that new number? What's its after it's been fixed up value, after repair value going to be worth? That ARV number is what you're going to live by as a wholesaler, because if that's what the market will pay for that house, and this is all the work of carrying it and fixing it, then you need to know what number that is right there, and I'm going to give it to you. It's the maximum allowable offer. We'll talk about that in a second. But ARV is what the house will be worth once it's all fixed up and gorgeous. How do you know that? When you're walking through a house that's beat up, how do you know what it's going to be worth once it's all fixed up? And that, my friends, comes from the comps. And I know we've covered this in a different video, but you may have watched how to determine ARV months ago. So go back and watch it again if you want. But ARV, that's after repair value. You get that number from the comps. And what comps are comparable properties. So properties that are within about 10 to 15% of the same square footage, same bedroom, same bathroom. And again, if you're trying to remember what this video looks like, I drew something like this with a house, and then I drew a circle like this, and I said, that's 0.25 miles, and then I went out like this, and so that's about 0.5